So now that we've cast on, we're going to begin by knitting our stitches. So to knit our stitches, we're going to take the piece of work. So you can see here I've already begun, and this is the piece of work that we've created, into your left hand. And you're going to take the working yarn. So the working yarn is the yarn that is still attached to the ball of wool. And we're going to wrap it over our left finger. So it's very important here that the wool goes underneath the back of the needle and then wraps up over the index finger like a hook. And you can use your 3 fingers on the other side of the work to hold the yarn steady into your palm. So you can see I've got my thumb stabilizing the work on the side closest to me, the working yarn wrapped over my index finger, and then on the other side I'm holding that yarn steady with my fingers. So we take the right hand needle, which is free so that you can see there's nothing on it, and we're going to insert it from the bottom left hand side of the stitch, under the needle, through the stitch, and out the back right hand side. So one more time, we're going to take the right hand needle to the left, bottom left side of the stitch, under the needle, through the stitch, and out to the back right hand side. So if you can see here, the stitch crosses over both of the needles. Now we're going to take our yarn and we're going to wrap it once anti-clockwise around the right hand needle. So wrapping it once anti-clockwise around the right hand needle, and then just slide it down so it sits snug against the other stitch. So showing you that again, I'm going to take the working yarn and wrap it once anti-clockwise around your right hand needle. So now we're going to pull the right hand needle through and back towards you, and then we're going to scoop it up under the left hand needle, taking the working yarn with us. So taking it back towards your body, scooping it under the needle and through, and you can see we've hooked the working yarn and we're taking it with us. So now all I'm going to do is slide the stitch off the needle with my right hand needle. There we go, sliding it off. So now we've successfully created a new stitch by making a new loop through the old stitch that was on your left needle. So each time we make a stitch, we're going to be moving it from the left hand needle across to the right. So we'll try it again. We've got the right hand needle, take it to the bottom left of the first stitch sitting on the left hand needle, under the needle, through the back and out to the top right hand corner, wrapping the yarn once anti-clockwise around your wool, pulling the right hand needle back and then scooping it under and hooking the working yarn, and now guiding it off the left hand needle with the right. And you can use your fingers just to pull the stitches on the working needle, on the left working needle, a bit closer to the tip so that you're not having to stretch them too far. So we'll try again. Under, wrap around, pull it back to your body, scoop it through, and then take it off the needle. And each time you take it off the needle, you just want to tighten a little bit with the working yarn, so just by giving it a little tug to make sure that the stitch is nice and firm. You don't want it to be too tight, but just firm enough so that there's no slack or gaps. So we'll do it once more. Under, around, down and through, off the needle, under, around, down and through, off the needle. Now we're just going to knit along to the end of the row, one stitch at a time, moving them off the left needle and onto the right as you create new stitches. So now we get to the last stitch and we do exactly the same thing again. Under, around, through and off. And so there you are, you've successfully completed a whole row. So one of the issues that beginner knitters often have is that they accidentally loop the yarn around the needle as they're working and create an extra stitch. And this will ultimately change the shape of your work, it'll make it bigger. So you just want to check that you have the same number of stitches as when you started. So if we started with 14 stitches, once you get to the end of each row, you just want to count that you have the same number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there we go, we've got 14, which is the right number. If we had one too many, we would just lift it and slip it off the needle and then undo it by pulling on the working yarn. So now that you've finished this row, you're just going to do the same thing again. We take the piece, which is the knitted piece, into our left hand. We take the loose needle into our right. We wrap the working yarn up over our left index finger, remember under the needle and towards the back, and then you can hold on to it with the rest of the fingers on your left hand. So we start again, back, around, off, and we're just going to keep going like this. So as you keep knitting, you're going to keep creating rows. Each line is a new row. And basically for our headband, we're just going to keep continuing until this long piece measures the total length that you need for your size. Once you're finished knitting, so you've gotten to the last row you need to make your measurement up, then we're going to cast off, and I'll show you how to do that in the next session.